Hello, I'm Guada Casuso, and I am a drone evangelist, and I work at Microsoft Japan.
Hi, I'm Sital Shah. I'm principal research engineer at Microsoft, and I work in aerial informatics group. Thanks.
Yeah. Hello, I am Ashish Kapoor, principal researcher at Microsoft Research.
Great, and we are here to talk about innovation and to talk about drones. And for that, I'm going to jump to this first question: is what is Microsoft doing in research in the aerial space?
Yeah, so Microsoft Research is a research wing of Microsoft where we have folks doing research and cutting edge and computer science all the way from theory to robotics, machine learning, systems. The Aerial Robotics Group is a research initiative. It's a virtual team of researchers, engineers, and developers that are looking to innovate in the AI space. And we are in particular interested in building these flight systems that are, can do these non-trivial things. So for instance, they can, for example, scan the entire farm for you because you are interested in improving your yield about your agricultural yield. Other things they can scan these massive buildings. And while doing so, they are intelligent enough so that they can plan, they can manage their own batteries as well as avoid all kinds of obstacles, right? And there are many interesting scenarios that we are very interested in exploring, which is really about using big data, the concepts of machine learning and machine intelligence, and how we can enable all of these different applications, but for social good.
Fantastic, and I know as part of that, you guys are working in a project that is RSIM, right?
Yes.
So what is RSIM?
Well, AirSim is a simulator for AI, for autonomous vehicles. So this AirSim came out of a real need from all the work that we have been doing on autonomous vehicles, especially aerial robotics. And there was nothing like what we needed for developing AI applications. And we built it ourselves. This is the first one, and we are proud of it, yeah.
Fantastic, and tell me something, what are scenarios of artificial intelligence that RSIM enable?
Yeah. So let me, first point to the fact that recently there have been a lot of very interesting and exciting advances in machine learning and machine intelligence that have, shown the promise of big data. So for instance, you can play all of these video games. You can have an intelligent agent that can learn to play at the level of a superhuman. You can, learn to, for instance, walk in simulation by observing you falling down or reinforcing your behaviors millions of times. But however, the thing is, all of these successes have happened in software agents. Like when you're playing games or you're learning in simulation, these are software agents. What we really strive for is to take all of these machine learning and machine intelligence techniques and push them into real world. So if you have, say, a quad rotor that needs to, race in one of these, say, first-person view racing games, it doesn't have luxury to collect all of this infinite amount of data. If it crashes the first time, you are done.
Yeah.
So consequently, these concepts of machine learning, reinforcement learning, they are a little bit challenging to directly apply. So consequently, what we need to think about, the next leap in AI would really be about using all of these machine intelligence and machine learning techniques and applying on these form factors which are in real world. Quad rotors, autonomous cars, IoT devices that would someday maybe power your farm, or all of these intelligent devices that you expect to light up your home, where we don't have the luxury of collecting a lot of data, but they interact in the open real world, right? So there is a deep connection between the AirSim project, because the whole idea is that AirSim lets you simulate reality in software. So now, imagine I have a quad rotor. I have the luxury of crashing that quad rotor a million times of simulation. And while I'm doing so, I'm collecting so much training data that I can actually feed it into my machine intelligence system, right? And once that happens, hopefully, at the end of the whole cycle, I have something that will operate in the real world. So, in a nutshell, what you're trying to do is you're trying to minimize the gap between simulation and reality. So then you can develop your solutions in simulations and make mistakes to your heart's content. But when it's ready, it's robust, that'll go and it'll do well in the real world.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. And I was thinking like different scenarios, as you said, that we are restricted today. Like for example, even just regulations. If you want to fly a drone or you want to race a car, you really need the infrastructure. And being able to do this in a simulator where is fantastic. So how can I download it? Where can I go?
Well, it is already released. It is
Oh.
already open source, and it's on GitHub.
Oh,
So
great.
if you just search for AirSim in Bing
You will find
or
it.
GitHub, you'll find it. And there is a detailed instructions on how to set it up, and we are going to make it even more easier in just very short time.
Fantastic. So I can go, contribute, and basically follow my own path and my ideas and see how can we use it.
Absolutely, that's all it's meant for.
Fantastic. That's
Yeah,
community.
let me add to that. So, if you think about it, we are really trying to create reality in simulation.
Yep.
And it's no means a small feat. So consequently, by open sourcing it, we are seeking your help and your input in order to keep making it better. It'll be an effort, a collective effort for all the people interested in this field to come together and build something that does not exist yet. So.
Fantastic, fantastic. No, definitely, I would love to contribute too as well. And we invite you to do that. Last question is, what scenarios are we seeing today for this application?
So there are main scenarios are that we want to make autonomous agents that they are smart. So imagine a drone that can go around anywhere without crashing into things. So you want it to go from point A to point B. So let's say, for example, one of the things we've been doing is how do we scan a complex structures, or we want to monitor the farms, or we want to do search and rescue. So there are tons of these applications which requires autonomous smart agents, and this is what we are aiming for. Let's say you want to drone racing, autonomous drone racing. You want to find the lost hikers. You want to monitor aircraft or oil rig, power lines. You want to have the soil monitored over time to see how it changes, environment, climate changes, and all those kind of stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic.
So, Koda, I'd like to add, one thing to it. So, Sheetal brought the point of, first-person view drone racing, for instance, right? So, first-person view drone racing is the scenario where a person is sitting on a chair, and he's wearing these goggles, right? And these goggles project, this camera feed on a drone that's been flying at very high speed. So if you think about the incredibility of the whole scenario, right, what you're doing is really transporting yourself onto a drone, and as if you are on the drone, and then you're controlling, your brain is able to translate this massive amount of visual data into a four-dimensional signal where they're controlling, right? So, our brain is so efficient to do that. What would it require us to build an agent that can reproduce such capabilities and maybe even beat humans at it, right? So in order to do so, it's a massive job, and that's where systems like AirSim come in, where they not only simulate the physics of the model, but also the visual details of the world. So it simulates actually the entire camera system. And so consequently, what you can do is you can hope to capture all this richness in the world, in the visual systems, and understand how a human brain translates that into a four-dimensional signal. Can you do that? And that's really what AirSim is designed to do, right? And I'd like to end that. I'd like to add that while we are talking a lot about quadrotors, AirSim is not limited to that. It has the functionality and the capability to add other forms of vehicles. So for instance, if you want to put an autonomous car in it, or maybe a boat, or maybe another kind of ground vehicles, right? it provides you all the interfaces and capabilities to instantiate such vehicles. So you can actually design and build for those systems as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, great job, guys. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming to Decode. And again, we invite you to go to GitHub, find the AirSim project, and contribute. I'm sure you're going to have great ideas on scenarios. Thank you.
Thanks.